Let's talk about goal setting. I know that for some people, thinking of goal setting at this time of year, as we get close to the end of 2020 and in December, some people are thinking that after the year we have, you're talking about goal setting. Well, I set goals earlier in 2020, and how have that worked out for me? And that may be the question or the thought that you're having. And I can understand that. I set goals myself. So do, I'm sure, millions of people set goals for 2020 and what has happened. I think there's a lesson to be learned here, and it's very, very important lesson, and that is the ability to be flexible and adaptable. One of those competencies of emotional intelligence is how adaptable can you be? Because as you set these goals, something has happened you never predicted, planned for. And so what has happened is you now have to deal with that. And so here we are at the end of 2020, and you're thinking, Kingsley, come on, set goals. I mean, what if 2021 turned out to be similar to 2020? Well, it could be, it may. But does that mean that you don't set goals? What if it doesn't turn out that way? I believe that we need to set goals no matter what. Now, I'm the first to tell you that this is one of the areas that I'm currently, well, let's put it this way, I'm still working on. I cannot tell you that I've perfected this, but I have learned some things along the way. I've learned how to remain flexible. I mentioned I've learned how to be adaptable, and still I'm learning that as well. So if we're going to then set smart goals, we've got to do some things differently. And I want to talk about how that looks, what that looks like. How do we set smart goals? And I want to share with you really just 5 things that you can do and that can help you to do a fairly good job. And if you stick with it, you probably could do a better job. Let's put it this way. You probably will have a better chance of succeeding if you are able to do that. So before I share that with you, let me quickly mention, just in case you're wondering who I am, I'm Kingsley Grant. I'm the host of the very popular podcast, The Kingsley Grant Show, which you can find on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, just to name a few places that you can access that podcast. And it's really on leadership skills and emotional intelligence skills. And where both of those intersect, I talk about that. And I call it Immortelligence. And I wrote a book called The Immortelligent Leader, Succeed Where Others Failed, and Become the Leader Everyone Loves and Wants to Follow. That book is available on Amazon, and you can get a copy there. And I hope you do, because you'll find about 7 essential traits I talk about in that book every leader needs to have if they're going to be successful. Now, let's get into goal setting and share with you those five areas I believe that is so important for you to set goals. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm the expert at this and that I have this really under, down pat. And no, I'm still working on this, and it's always the ongoing process of tweaking and tweaking. So if you're interested in actually connecting with me in any way, shape, or form, and I want to just put at the bottom here, let me scroll this across the bottom so you can find a way to connect with me on all social media at Kingsley Grant, and you can access my website at kingsleygrant.com. So let me share with you then the 5 secrets, or the 5 essence, the 5 things you need to know about goal setting. The first one is that, and I'm going to use the word SMART, SMART. The first thing you need to know that you must have a specific goal. That goal must be clear. It must be specific. You have to be able to clearly state what your goal is. So if I ask you, what's one goal you have so far for 2021? Could you tell that person who asked you that question, me or someone else, what that goal is? Or what are your goals? In a group, a book group that we meet once a week, and we're reading through a current book at this recording. And so on Monday we meet and we had discussion about each chapter. And what happened is this coming Monday, and of course, if you're watching this video at any time, this coming Monday won't mean anything because it would have already passed, right? But let's put it this way: at our next meeting, how about that? At our next meeting, we're going to talk about goal setting. We're going to sit down and talk about our goals and help each other fine tune specific goals, right? So the first thing, it must be specific. The second part, when I say about the M, measurable, this is a part that most people, including myself, have not done too well, that have a measurable goal. I was speaking to a friend of mine of mine recently, and the person asked me, Kingsley, how do you measure what it is you're talking about? We're talking about some things in particular. And I said, because I didn't really have a measurable way to know how am I progressing? What are my metrics? How do I measure if I'm meeting my goals or not? So I didn't have a measurable way of figuring that out. So you have to be able to measure. So something had to be very measurable. For example, the goal could be, I want to lose 5 pounds, right, over the next whatever time. And I'm going to share with you the T part of smart setting will include that. So let's look about weight setting, for example. Specific. I want to lose 5 pounds. Okay. So that's a start. That's a start. Measurable. Yes. You can look at your weight right now and you can measure when you are losing 1 pound at a time. That's measurable. So that's a part of the M. Now, the other part is A, attainable. Is it attainable? Well, I can lose 5 pounds. Well, I wish I could. Yes, I could. I can lose 5 pounds. That's attainable. And I could have specific goals. Now, here's the important part of goal setting. When you set a goal, remember that goal now have other mini goals in it, right? So a goal have to have mini goals, which are called tasks. So you break down each task within a goal present. So a specific, well, what are the tasks that I'm going to have under the specific part of the goal? It's measurable. What are the tasks I'm going to have under the measurable part of the goal? It is attainable. What are the tasks I'm going to have under the attainable part of the goal? So I break it down into smaller beats, a smaller manageable size, so I can even kind of, go deeper and measure and have a way to be able then to know I'm on track for my goal setting. So it has to be attainable. Sometimes people set goals that are not attainable and they're wondering why they're not keeping them, why they're blowing the goals, because they're not attainable. Now, the other part of the goal setting, of smart goal setting, is R, realistic. This is a part that is so key because a person may say, I want to have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or get married. Okay. The question is, are you setting a goal for somebody who is above your pay grade? Maybe you are 5'9", and you're looking for somebody who is 6'1". Come on, you've got to find somebody who's either 5'9". Well, I guess let me say some people. I'm one of those who believe that if I'm gonna have somebody who I'm dating or married to, I want to be at least, this could be a male thing, I don't know, an ego thing, and it's up for discussion. You can chime in if you want to, but this is just my view, my belief. I didn't want to have a wife who was taller than me. I just, and again, if you do, that's your thing. That's your thing, and that's fine. So let me not get off too much into that because I get in trouble in this regards. So my point is, don't hang your hat higher than you can reach it. Be realistic, and I'll leave it there. I won't say anything more because I could get in trouble going that direction. And the last part is T, time bound. Your goal must be time bound, meaning that there had to be a time given to that. This is where we fail most time, I including myself. When there's no time given to it, when do you want to have that goal finished or done by? When there's no time, the chance is it's not going to get done. So if it's not on the calendar, if it doesn't have a time or date, Okay. So when I say time, I'm talking about a date as to when you want to complete that goal. It's not going to happen. Now, I have some goals I really want to set for 2021. One of those goals that I have is to really work with um, people in the mental health space. That is, mental health professionals who have a private practice, and I want to help them actually leverage their skill sets and really increase their revenue without having to add more clients. Now, you see how I'm breaking that down? I have a specific thing I want to help them with, increase their revenue. Okay. And I'm putting a bit more specificity in there. That is without adding more clients to their already full schedule. See how I'm breaking that down? Now I'm going to put a when. So when I'm going to have to put a when in that, I'm going to have to put a measurable amount. How many people in private practice I want to have in my group and working with in the next 3 months. See, I have to put a specific time bound thing to that. Well, so I had to then put some tasks. One of those tasks I put onto that was to create a Facebook group where we can actually meet. So I've created a Facebook group. And if you're interested in knowing more about that or know someone who is in private practice as a mental health professional, have them go and check out the private practice. Now, the name has evolved somewhat. So if you listen to my last video, you'll hear me say private practice mastery. Now it's private practice revenue creators, because I wanted to have us be creators or builders of what we want to do in the online space. And I'll talk more about to those who are going to join. So I won't waste your time if you're not interested in talking about that here. But I'm just sharing that as an example of what it is. One of my goals will be for 2021. So my question is, what are your goals? I'd love for you to share that with us. I'd love for you to comment and just put your goals, what your goals are and what you're working on. And if I can be of any help, then make sure you connect with me. As you see my at the bottom is scrolling across how to connect with me. You can DM me, and make sure you also listen to my podcast, because I break down some things there as well on leadership. So my friend, I want to get, as we get to the end here, I went a bit longer than I would normally go, because I wanted to keep this about 10 minutes, but I went a bit over, but that's okay. I hope you found value in this. And if you did, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you like it, show some love to this show, but also comment, ask questions, engage, so we can all have a conversation. I can learn from you, you can learn from me. So what are your thoughts about this show tonight? What are your thoughts about SMART goal setting? What are your any input you have? And I love to hear. So please add your voice to the conversation. Let's have this conversation and take it a bit further. So I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much for taking the time as you have tuned in tonight to watching with me about how to set SMART goals. And I really appreciate that. Make sure you follow me. I'll be having more of this show on a regular basis. So thank you for taking the time to be here with me. And as I always said in closing out, this is where I close out. My friend, now I want you to go and Kingspire someone. That is to take something you learn from the Kingspire show, from the Kings of Grand show, and inspire someone. That's called Kingspire or Kingspiration or Kingspiring. So go and Kingspire someone today. With that said, my friend, peace out. God bless. And I'll see you on the flip side. Yeah.